Hello everyone, this is Fahad Mirza and I welcome you to the channel. At the start of this year, everyone was talking about agents and almost everyone out there was saying that this is going to be the year of agentic software. But it seems that reasoning is in vogue and people are not really talking about agents at the moment. In this video, I am going to do another video on this reasoning. We are joining the herd, and this time we are going to see how can we infuse reasoning into Llama or Coin models with the help of Unsloth. If you don't know what Unsloth is, in very simple words, it is a very easy to use library for fine-tuning your large language models. I have covered Unsloth a lot on my channel since the inception of this tool. So all you need to do is to just go to my channel and search with Unsloth and you should be able to find heaps of videos around it. From the last couple of years, I have even interviewed its founder. So feel free to check it out if you are interested. So we are going to use this Unsloth library to infuse reasoning or to make Llama model reasonable in quotes. So let's see how it works. And the good thing is that I'm just going to use a Google Colab notebook shared by Unsloth with very minor changes, and I will also drop the link to it in video's description. So don't worry about all the code I am going to use. So first up, let me install some of the stuff, and this is where we are installing this VLLM, pillow and all that stuff. And before you do that, go to runtime and then change runtime type. As you can see, I already have selected this free GPU from Google Colab. So let's run it. And by the way, I believe that all you need for this is this free GPU, and the VRAM consumption should be around 7 to 8 gig, but we will see. So let's wait for it to get installed. And while it is getting installed, let me quickly introduce you to the sponsors of the video too, who are AgentBot. AgentBot lets you effortlessly deploy a personalized knowledge bot across platforms like Discord, Slack, and others. It is ideal for open source tech communities and startups that provide user support, and I will drop the link to their website in video's description. Okay, almost there. And while it installs, um, if you have been watching my videos, especially on DeepSeek R1, and recently I did a video on GRPO. So GRPO is a secret sauce behind all this reasoning which is happening in these models. GRPO stands for Group Relative Policy Optimization, and it is a groundbreaking technique introduced by or implemented by DeepSeek, which has dramatically enhanced LLM reasoning ability through reinforcement learning. And I have explained it in very simple words with a hands-on demo in this video. And that is what we are going to use in this Unsloth enabled notebook too. Okay, so that is done. Next up, we are going to patch it with GRPO as I explained. And now let's grab our Llama model. And as you can see with the Unsloth, we are just importing some libraries. We are setting some of the parameters. And then we are grabbing this Llama 3.1 8 billion instruct model in quantized format. We are just loading it in 4-bit. Now, if you're wondering what exactly these parameters are, because we just don't want to blindly run it, let me very quickly explain. First, we are importing this Unsloth library. We are setting this max sequence length, which is the length of input text sequence or your input. Then LoRa rank here is just 32. LoRa stands for low rank adaptation, which controls the capacity of fine tuning or adaptation. We are just setting it to 32 here. And what LoRa does is it freezes the actual weights and layers of the model, and then it fine tunes and creates an adapter on top of it specific to your dataset or your use case. And I have done heaps of videos in very simple words, hands-on. You can check it out on the channel. And then from there you can see that we are loading it in 4-bit precision. We can even go with 16 or 8, but we are just going with this. We are doing fast inference. And then you see that if I come here, there is a R. Now this R is the rank of LoRa matrix. LoRa rank, or this is similar. Then we have target modules. These are the modules within your model to apply LoRa adaptation to. Then LoRa alpha is again set, which is a scaling factor for the LoRa adaptation. and it is same value as the LoRa rack. And then we are setting um, whether to use gradient checkpointing or not. This is to reduce memory usage during training. So we have just set it to Unsloth because we are using Unsloth in this one, and then random seed is just to initialize it. So let me quickly run it. This is going to take a minute or two. And the model is being downloaded. The size is just under 6 gigs, so it should be good for this GPU. Anyway, let's wait. Okay, so that is done. Took a fair bit of time. Now let's define these functions, which primarily in simple words grabbing a dataset and then defining some of the reward functions. Now this is strictly related to reinforcement learning or GRPO. In very simple words, whenever you are doing reinforcement learning, for training the model, you are rewarding the model for correct responses, and then you are punishing it for loss if the answer is not correct. And that is how, without any labeled data set, model improves by itself. And that is the whole story behind it. If you want to learn more, then please watch this GRP video, as I have done a separate video on it. But for this one, just remember we are just defining these reward functions, and every use case, every model has its own set of data reward function. You can easily replace it. It's very, very simple Python code. So we have our base model, or the model which we want to fine tune. We want to infuse reasoning in. We have reward function, we have data set. Let's define the trainer, and it's a simple trainer from Hugging Face. Where we are using GRPO config. Hugging Face has already enabled the support for it, which is great. Now very quickly, though I already have done videos on these trainers, but just to give you a very quick idea, is that we are using VLLM, which is another very fast inference engine. We are putting the output directory and that sort of stuff, and then we are specifying some of the optimizer values here. Now the optimizer is used to update the model's parameters to minimize the loss function. Normally we use AdamW, which is a very popular optimizer that adapts the learning rate for each parameter based on the magnitude of the gradient. Learning rate is the initial learning rate for the optimizer, and it determines how quickly the model's parameters are updated during training. A high learning rate can lead to rapid convergence, but may also cause oscillations or divergence or overfitting. And then Adam beta 1, Adam beta 2, the beta values for the Adam optimizer control the exponential decay rates of the first and second moments of the gradient. Now, there are a lot of tidbits which are related to machine learning. For example, again, you know, there is a learning rate scheduler setting where we can use cosine for a cosine schedule, because it adjusts the learning rate during training to improve convergence. And warm-up ratio is simply the fraction of training steps to warm up the learning rate. It gradually increases the learning rate from a small initial value to the desired value. And then if you see, we are setting some of the gradient stuff here and above, where you can say that, for example, max grad norm. This is the maximum norm of the gradient for gradient clipping, and gradient clipping is a technique that limits the magnitude of gradient to prevent exploding. And so primarily all of these, they are trying to make sure that training doesn't overfit or underfit, and the learning rate is balanced so that we get good results. So let me run it to initialize. So our trainer is now initialized, and all there remains is to run this trainer with the usual GRPO trainer one. And there are a lot of other trainers too, by the way, SFT, and the list goes on Hugging Face website. So let me run it, and it is running. And if you see in this code, we are specifying our model, our tokenizer, and then these are the reward functions which reward the model if it performs well. So this is going to take a bit of a time, so we have to be patient. Now the goal here is, if you scroll down, that it is going to start the training, is that reward should keep increasing. And in reinforcement learning, because model warms up, with that warm up ratio and that sort of stuff. For the first 50 to 100 steps, the reward doesn't increase, it remains zero. But after that, it starts increasing. So we just have to be patient. And this takes a bit of a time. And that also depends upon your VRAM, as we are using this free one. So its VRAM is just quite confined. But if you are doing it for real world use cases, I would highly suggest go with either 80 GPU of VRAM or multi GPU setup, so that your speed will be way quicker. And if you look at the progress here, this is a step 1 and reward is 0, loss is also 0, but this is a data set which it is training on, it is doing the reasoning, and this is how they are very intelligently and smartly infusing the reasoning into the model, or again making it reasonable. So let's wait for it to run, and then I will show you shortly once it proceeds further. And the model's training is still running. I'm not sure how long it is going to take, but I will of course wait. Now, just a quick one. If you look at this matrix or the training matrix, let's try to understand what is happening here. So first column is step. This is a current training step. This is an incremental counter that increases by 1 for each training iteration. Then we have training loss. This is the loss value of the model at the current training step. This is a measure of how well the model is doing on the training data. A lower loss value indicates better performance. Then we have reward. This is the average reward obtained by the model at the current training step. So this reward is often a measure of how well the model's generated text aligns with the desired output. And then we have reward standard deviation, which is obtained by the model at the current training step, and this provides a measure of variability or uncertainty in the reward. And then we have completion length, which is the average length of the generated text completion at this given current training step. And at the last column we have this KL, or Kullback-Leibler divergence, as it is called. So the KL divergence between the model's output distribution and the target distribution at the current training step is what this is telling us. KL divergence is the measure of difference between two probability distribution, and here it is being used to measure the difference between the model's generated text and the desired output. And as you can see that mostly in the first 25 steps there is a lot of uncertainty, a lot of variability, and so let's wait. I think when it reaches around 80, 90, 70, 100, then it might be a bit more representative. So let's wait for it. And as I said earlier, this all speed also depends heavily on your resources of the system. Just to give you an update on the training, it is still running for the last more than 1 hour. In total, it seems that ETA is around 3 hours. And if you look at the steps and keep an eye on the reward column, you will see that there is a lot of minus, 0, and a lot of uncertainty here. But as I scroll down, it is still the case. And then as now it is approaching 70, 80, you see that now it is getting better, where it is seems to be putting in some meaningful values where there are no zeros and there are representative values. Still a lot of deviation, which you can also check on the standard deviation column, but seems better now. It is at step number 87, and now it has started to do bit of a improved training, I would say, in terms of reward. So what it means is that model now has started to generate decent values as per the expected output. So there are in total 250 steps, so it is still at 87. So I will just wait for a couple more hours to see how it goes. I hope that it doesn't time out, but anyway, let's see how it goes. After all, it's a free Google Colab. And as you can see that the model training is still happening. It is at step 160. If I just take you back and we try to see what exactly is happening in terms of this training, because this is, I always believe bit of a gray area where people struggle to understand it. So let's try to understand it together. So overall trend is that, or maybe we'll just first go step by step. So you see from step 1, and keep an eye on loss, reward, and the scale. So from step 1 to sort of around 2021, the model is still initializing and reward values are very heavily fluctuating, and reward value is this third column. So keep this third column in perspective. All columns are important, but this third column is the most important. Then from step 20, this one, let me make it this step 20 to step 50, the model is starting to showing a positive trend in reward values. So you see it is positive. There are here and there some negative values. So what it means is that it is learning. So you see around step 20 it is still fluctuating a lot, but still there is some positivity shown. It's a gradual evolutionary process. And then from step 50 to 100, the model is continuing to improve with some fluctuations in reward values. You see a lot better than before. And then from step 100 to 150, the model reward values start to plateau. So you see they are plateauing around 2 point this around 150. If I keep going, they're sort of repeating themselves. So it may be reaching its limit. So if you are doing it on Google Colab, maybe you just give it 150 steps instead of 250 like the default one. Anyway, and then you see from step towards the 158, 163, model values are showing, bit of a decline. There is, so it means that this is our sweet spot around 150 steps. So if I would be doing it again, I will just keep the steps to 150 instead of 250. Now if I take you up and show you our training script, so this is our trainer, and then this is where we gave it the steps 250 and 250. So maybe you can just simply do it one to max step to 150 and then save step. So it is just saving it towards end instead of doing it in after every few steps. So I'll just change this max step to 150 if I would be doing it again, and by now it should have been finished after these 2 hours or so. Let me see how many, what is the ETA now. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling again and again, but it is a real time. I want to keep it raw and transparent. So you see 2 hours is what you should be aiming at on the free Google Colab is 150 step. Still 1 hour remains for the next 100 steps. I hope that it doesn't overfit. Overfit in simple words mean that model, instead of learning, model just tries to cram it or tries to remember it, which is not a good thing because it becomes very rigid. Anyway, so I will let it run because it is don't want to break it at this point in time after 2 hours. I'll just wait to see what happens next. And eventually just now this has finished all the 250 steps. So our model is ready and we can use it. If you look at this reward and all that KL divergence, you will see that after 150 it has plateaued and took over 3 hours to get finished for one epoch. Okay, and normally you for the production one you go with 3 epochs. I think that's more than enough. Anyway, so this is just the streaming of the data set which it has trained on and how it went about. So I'm just going to scroll down here. I am going to show you how you can test it. So in the first instance we are going to check it without reasoning, and I have just set some of the hyperparameters. We are getting the tokenizer and then we are getting the response from the model for the question calculate pi. So let me run it. And there you go, this is the model which is without reasoning. Now what we have done above, as I mentioned earlier, we have trained this LoRa or low rank adaptation or adapter with GRPO. So let me save it first, which we have trained now.